Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. We are going to review Parasite, the most critically acclaimed movie of the year. Not only does this movie have a 99 on Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 9.4 average rating on Rotten Tomatoes. What other movie has higher than that? It doesn't exist. Not even Boyhood, not even Moonlight. This movie has the highest average rating of any movie on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And it's not just a hit with the critics, fellas, it's a hit with the audiences. IMDb 8.5, putting it in the top 100, and Letterboxd a 4.5 out of 5. That's practically unprecedented. So what do we got in our hands here? It is a wild ass ride. Had me gasping. I was gasping here, I was gasping there. For air. Gasping all over the place. I mean, a complete success in terms of every genre that it tries to tackle, mainly comedy and thriller. Parasite has thrills.
Oh yeah.
And it is also very fucking funny. It starts out as like almost a pure comedy, like a movie that you could see just being like a well done comedy. At times it's almost even like a sitcom. Like it literally takes advantage of itself as
it's like
a comedy,
pretty hilarious.
Takes advantage of the ridiculousness, and sometimes it's not going for anything other than just being like crazy and funny. Other times it has ideas on its mind. Other times it's like absolutely shocking with the twists and turns. I think that's why this movie has such amazing ratings, is because it's a movie that anybody could sit down and watch and just get like immediately sucked into eating it up. It's a feast of a movie. It's a feast, you know, it's a genre feast, a 3-course meal, if you will. Every course of that meal offers something different and fulfilling and surprising. You just don't know where it's going until it gets there. You know, that's what makes an exceptional movie. This film works on a lot of levels, but first and foremost, this is just amazing storytelling. What a gripping film from start to finish. So simple and yet so complex, but never in a way that is inaccessible or confusing. I can see how it's pleasing absolutely everybody. It's so easy to enjoy being on this roller coaster of a movie. We will not spoil anything. I've actually seen a lot of reviews that spoil the momentum of the first 45 minutes.
They spoil the whole first 45 minutes.
We're not going to do that, folks. It's almost hard to even explain, but this movie feels like it was made to like enter the canon of cinema. Like after you see it, you're like, of course this movie exists. This movie just like has to be a thing. Joon-ho described writing this film as like having kind of this like idea and just like going with it. It feels like that. It feels like this brilliantly conceived plot that just goes to incredible places.
I think it also probably feels like that because there's a level of relatability to like society and class. And, you know, in this movie, I don't think that's like deeply explored at every level as some people might give it credit for. I wouldn't quite give it that much credit. I feel like Us is actually a very similar movie in terms of themes. But Us is probably a movie you can dissect even more. The details there. Whereas Parasite is about those things overall, but is mainly about like the tension that it creates. And on top of that, you have sort of a social commentary, sort of like the icing on the cake. It's a movie that does ask you to reflect on the dynamics work between different classes of people.
And it's not like the most emotionally enveloping movie. It's so great on other fronts that it didn't feel like it needed to be that, but it also ends with a tinge of sadness, and the note that it ends on also does like reflect the tragedy of
the
themes.
substance.
You can just sit back and know that Bong Joon-ho is going to take you on this great roller coaster, and you're going to get everything you need to get in the first viewing. I did watch this movie again, and I just liked it a second time just as well. The ensemble is impeccable. Every character has a chance to shine. There are so many great performances.
It's hard also to say like who is the standout in the movie. I felt like every character has, you know, their own moment, and they're like almost like equally weighted players.
My God, I hope it gets SAG Ensemble, but I feel like it's gonna get the Critics' Choice Ensemble nomination and then not SAG Ensemble. Yeah.
I also want to point out like production design. I didn't know this, but they built the mansion and then they built a whole impoverished neighborhood. Those are not like actual locations. Those are things that the production design team like constructed. And this house, every corner of it is like memorable. Like I could have a dream where I'm like walking around this house. I know where like everything is. I could find like where I need to go. I could like
you need to make it in Minecraft. Like somebody has to like do like make it on Minecraft. It could go down as an iconic film house.
And I also think there's an iconic lawn in this movie.
Other iconic things that I will not spoil.
It's so shocking and brutal where it ends up that like there's just no way that like history will forget this movie. Like we will not forget Parasite. We will not forget like the sensation that it is. Sweeping the box office. It swept the international box office. It's really cleaning up here and it's cashing in. I can't wait to see how well it does in the United States because this has so much appeal for American audiences.
It's a perfect stew though. I mean,
like Jordan Peele's gonna watch this movie and go like he's taking lots and lots of notes. And then from like a directing level, Bong Joon-ho just makes this movie like so entertaining. I would say it's like a really good looking movie and it's obviously like so well crafted, but it doesn't feel like he's putting like a certain style like front and center. It feels like he's making all the right moves.
Yeah.
He's also doing it in a way that's like really accessible.
It's very accessible and entertaining, and if you haven't seen a foreign film, make it your first. The subtitles will not matter to anybody. It is too engrossing.
I would recommend this movie to almost anybody. Like, as long as you're not someone who's easily disturbed, I would recommend that you watch this movie, even if you don't watch foreign films and you don't care about that. This is like the movie you settle down with on a Friday night, or you watch it at a sleepover just for like the fucking ride. I can't recommend it any higher.
And what's great is that this film is not being ignored. It is not just knowing its place. Like you're a foreign film, only a few people in the US care, and then that's it. This is transcending barriers. In America, it's doing extremely well in its limited run.
Per theater, yeah.
And it's probably going to make over 10 million. It's going to continue chugging along. The word of mouth is insane. It is in the middle of an awards conversation, and they are giving it a big awards push. It should absolutely be nominated for lots of Oscars.
I have no qualms predicting this for Best Picture and Best Director, Best Screenplay. Like, those are so easy and obvious to me. Once people see it, like, they will vote for it. It is going to win so many, like, critics' precursor awards. Watch out for it. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, but, we have to watch out for this movie.
And then foreign film, like, duh, it's winning. The more this film is being talked about, the more people are saying, well, why not some technicals? Production design. Let's make it happen, folks. Know that they built the whole thing. They built everything. It should absolutely be nominated for production design. The same way that Roma was nominated for building the house, this movie should be nominated for
I feel like editing.
Yeah, it could get an editing nomination.
That would be pretty crazy, but it's in talks for cinematography a little bit. I don't think that's like the most sure thing, because it's not the most stylized movie in terms of like the camera work. It's never generic, but it's not like Roma stylized.
I mean, there are some shots that are like very
some
good,
shots, yeah.
The score, which I noticed way more on the second viewing.
I was thinking about, is this original?
It classical music? No, it's not. It's all original. It's all original. Listen to it on Spotify. It's all original.
If it's all original, I'll be upset if it's not nominated.
Fantastic score.
I gotta listen to this right now on Spotify.
There are great melodic themes that run throughout. Variety of instruments is great.
A lot of
classical
pieces.
Like loud classical suites that are just booming over these montages. And then there's like this great part where like all this excitement building and there's like just this marching snare like going nuts. It's an awesome score, and I really hope it gets some recognition and a nomination. I will be upset if it does not gain the momentum.
Learning that this is all original score, I'm amazed.
And people are saying, well, what a great ensemble. Can we throw any actors into the mix? And my answer is that I don't know that any of them will make the final top 5, but I see 2 of them being nominated at like critics circles and such. I see Song Kang-ho being nominated for Best Supporting Actor, the father of the lower class family. He's great in this movie. One of the funniest characters, kind of like a goofball, like everyman, but he's also like, he can also be heartbreaking. He's just pitch perfect. Yeo Jong-jo, if I'm pronouncing that correct, plays the mother of the wealthy family. One of the more expressive performances. Very comedic most of the time, But she's also like really good and playing it very smart.
I don't think they're gonna happen.
People are going, who could be Marina de Tavira this year, Justin?
I don't know. It's just tricky because there's so many supporting characters and they all are competing like kind of on the same level of like screen time. Picture, director, screenplay, foreign film winning, art direction, score.
We're getting into iffy territory. I think production design is the most likely.
Yeah, so that'd be like you cap it off at 5.
Score could happen. Editing could happen. And then I think cinematography is less likely, not impossible. And then those supporting performances are very unlikely, but not impossible.
5 nominations at the least, and probably more like 6.
Scream it out. Best score, best production design. Those are the 2 that I'm personally really hoping for.
As a thriller, as a dark comedy, I couldn't recommend this movie more. Easy 10 out of 10. Easy 10 out of 10.
Absolute must see. If you don't see this movie, shame on you. Sorry, shame on you. 10 out of 10. One of the best films of the year. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
What kind of parasite are you?